This is the last week on our four-part series of Image and Colorism. And in this episode, I call it, Is There Life Outside the Color Box? Okay, let's look at colorism around the world. Take a brief look. Africa. In some parts of Africa, people with lighter skin are thought to be more attractive and likely to find more success than those with darker skin tones. In some countries, this barrier has resulted in millions of women and men turning to, like we just saw, the skin lightening treatments, many of which are very, very harmful to the body, but not just to the body. It also affects every part of you because we're just not body. We're also mind and we're also spirit. Historically, skin lightening in Africa can be dated to the European colonialism, where individuals with lighter skin received greater privilege than those of darker tones. The European colonists in Rwanda established a color-based caste system that placed the Tutsi people above the Hutu people on the basis of their somewhat lighter skin. I want to make a note here that the tactics don't change. We're still talking about the house nigga, N-I-G-G-A, and the field nigga, N-I-G-G-A, okay? The racial hierarchy and color ranking within colonized African nations left psychological effects on many of the darker-skinned individuals. Okay? In the 21st century, 77% of Nigerian women, 52% of Senegalese women, and 25% of Malian women are using lightening products. Okay. There's a report in Ghana that says, a quote, when you are light-skinned, you earn more. Okay. That should tell you right there. Let's look at Asia. In India, a major market for skin lightening products, okay, they have an estimated 60% of the dermatological market comprising such products, right? Considered one of the world's largest skin lightening markets. South Korea, their fair skin is a beauty ideal and the use of skin lightening products is prevalent. And there are other Asian countries, okay, where the skin lightening is also practiced, okay, like the Philippines and Malaysia. Even in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, the skin lightening is a common practice among the women. Okay, it's also a common practice in Jordan. So the use of skin lightening practice in the Middle East has been attributed to the desire for upward social mobility and attractiveness. In India, so multiple studies have conducted that preference for lighter skin in India is historically linked to both the caste system and the centuries of rule by people from other areas, okay? There's Persia, Mughal territory, and Europe, okay? Colorism in India is also fed by the attitudes of Europeans who favor lighter skinned people for administrative positions and other prominent social positions. So power was conceptually intertwined with light skin. Rich Indians often tend to be light skinned due to less exposure to the sun. Some of the research shows that colorism has societal implications, many of which severely harm the socioeconomic mobility of darker skinned Indians. These can manifest in gender stereotyping and regional discrimination. Studies of melanin index, which they label as MI, in individuals across regions show that there are variations in skin color, which contribute to the level of discrimination from darker skinned individuals that they face in these respective regions. In some regions of India, dark-skinned people are often seen as quote-unquote dirty and of lower status than lighter-skinned ones. So a light complexion is equated with male and female beauty, racial superiority, and power, and continue to have strong influence on their marital prospects, employment, status, and income. Now, it says most of the girls were denied employment due to the darker skin tone, but a few got jobs, but they were part of the out of sight ground crew. And then there's Sri Lanka. So the fair skin is a beauty ideal in contemporary Sri Lankan society, but it has its roots in ancient beauty ideals in the country. Fairness products and other products that include whitening agents are commonly sold in Sri Lanka and are popular among the females. The fair-skinned actors and actresses featured prominently in Bollywood films and Korean dramas, both of which are widely popular and influential in Sri Lanka. The Caribbean. In Haiti, skin bleaching to lighten one's skin, the brown paper bag test to verify one's skin tone, and degradation of darker complected Haitians as ugly are contemporary manifestations of colorism. In the Dominican Republic, quote unquote, blackness is often associated with the illegal Haitian migrant minority who have a lower class status in the Dominican Republic. People who possess more African like phenotypic features are often victims of discrimination and are seen as foreigners. Latin America. Okay. Let's look specifically at Brazil. Brazil has the world's largest population of African descent outside Africa. Okay. The racially mixed individuals with lighter skin generally have higher rates of social mobility than the mixed race people with darker skin. There is a disproportionately higher number of people among the mostly European descended elites than there is among those elites whose members are of visible African descent. There are large health, education, and income disparities between the races in Brazil. And a recent study finds that skin color is a strong predictor of social inequality in Brazil than race. That is, the race color categories used on the Brazilian census. Okay. This highlights the fact that socially perceived skin color and race are not the same thing. Although browns are mixed and blacks comprise more than 50% of the population, they comprise less than 25% of all the elected politicians. In Chile, and there's a wide range of diversity from other cultures and ethnic backgrounds in Chile. The diversity in Chile sees colorism through social economic status, accommodating the pre-existing notions that darker skin complexions are less valued, again. And a 2016 study found that Chilean school teachers expected less from their dark-skinned students, who they called morenos, than they expected from their light-skinned students, who they called blancos. Okay. Due to the history of colonization, being darker skinned and likely descended from enslaved Africans means that people are automatically considered members of the lower class. Current studies have revealed that many Chileans want to have lighter pigmentation. Whiteness is also associated with economic standing. A mixed race person may be considered quote unquote white if they are obviously educated and successful. Mexico. A 2017 study revealed a 45% gap in educational achievement between the darkest and the lightest skinned white Mexicans, and that wealth in the country similarly correlated to skin color. Colorism in Mexico is an ongoing problem that strongly affects people of darker skin tones living there. Color can affect Mexican citizens in their daily lives, their ability to get jobs, and their basic self-esteem. Mexicans and other Europeans, Mexicans have a long history of ancestry from sources other than the indigenous peoples, which are the Spanish, African, German, and other Europeans. The number of Mexicans who identified as mixed race increased from 3 million in 2010 to more than 20 million in 2020 as more individuals began to acknowledge mixed race. Skin color for Mexicans can range from white to black. More than half of Mexican citizens identify as mestizo or mixed race. And lastly, with respect to Mexico, the findings from a study they did at Vanderbilt University, it indicated that the skin tones appeared to be associated with uh, educational achievement. And in Europe, now native dark-skinned African people living in the European Union have reported encountering discrimination based on skin color. Overall reports of skin color discrimination did not vary by gender, by the way, with an equal percentage of men and women, that is 38%, reporting skin color discrimination. A 2019 report by Universities UK found that students' race and ethnicity significantly affect their degree outcomes. And then in 2023, on the University of Cambridge survey, it featured the largest sample of Black people in Britain. It found that 88% had reported racial discrimination at work. 79% believed the police unfairly targeted Black people with stop and search powers, and 80% definitely or somewhat agreed that racial discrimination was the biggest barrier to academic attainment for young Black students. Now, say the one for Japan last, because this is the one that had what I would call, for lack of a better word, interesting aspects. It says that Hiroshima Wagatsuma, he writes in the Daedalus, and the Japanese culture has long associated skin color with other physical characteristics that signify degrees of spiritual refinement or degrees of primitiveness. In Japan, there is considerable discrimination and stigma against the skin color of white European women. Japanese women commonly state that white women's skin is too pale, or that it is rough, wrinkled, or has too many spots. Okay. Now, it's interesting to note that the Japanese culture, how they felt about skin color, and this was before, okay, and then after the influence of European culture. So they have always felt a certain attitude toward darker skin, a negative attitude toward darker skin. But it's interesting how some of the quotes I'm going to read you and how they view Europeans also. Mind you, all of these are quotes until I say there's no longer a quote. Disagreeable features for a woman are a large space, the lack of any tuft of hair under the temple, a big nose, thick lips, black skin, a big body, excessive tolerance, heavy, strong limbs, brownish, wavy hair, and a loud, talkative voice. Deep in my mind, it seems the Caucasians are somehow connected with something animal-like, especially when I think of a middle-aged Caucasian woman. The first thing which comes to my mind is a large lump of boneless ham. This kind of association may not be limited, as I recall now. One in English class at school, our teacher explained the meaning of the word called a big pig. A boy in our class that loudly, I know what it is. It's like a foreign, which means Caucasian woman. It says we all laughed, and I felt we all agreed with the boy. Okay. All right, so these are quotes. The next ones are from Japanese women who are actually married to quote unquote Black men. Frankly, I feel uneasy about it, black skin, in the beginning, but you see it every day from morning to evening. There is nothing else you can do except get used to it. I did get used to it, especially since he was very nice and kind all the time. Once you get used to it, you no longer see it. The Negro special features, black skin, round eyes, thick round nose, the big lips, may very well be animal-like to the eyes of those accustomed only to the yellow or a white base living long enough to all the Negroes. However, one comes to realize how human their faces are. The color of the Negroes can give one an overwhelming impression, but once one gets older and one notices how gentle their facial features are. Blackness is often combined with death, despair, and other kinds of negative things. A black belly man is wicked, and black is the depression. When something becomes dirty and smeared, it gets black. White in your mind can symbolize cleanliness. Then, by an association, black is the opposite of purity and loveliness. Black can be just something that's unclean. It's just not the natural state of things.